Whoa, you are looking seriously skinny and flaccid.
What do you mean? What am I supposed to do?
Dude, seriously? Put on a shirt.
What? I never thought of that. Holy buckets. So I can just put this on until I get a colossal freakazoid pump with humongous girth?
Right, fellas, reporting in for part 2, but it is the weekend. The wife and daughter are home. I don't want to freaking rustle my daughter's jimmies. By her hearing the terminology of pencil neck, it drives her crazy for some reason. She thinks it's disrespectful. I say, Sweet Pea, trust me on this. It's not a disrespectful term. It's just a way of life. You know what I'm saying? We're either horse cocks or we're pencil necks, okay? People need to accept it. There ain't nothing wrong with being one or the other. It's just which road are you going down? At times we will find ourselves with a fork in the road. And you're going to choose horse cockery or pencil neckology, okay? Anyways, I apologize. I'm in the freaking plant room. This is a small room we never hang out in, so the TV is a bit puny. But what I do have in this room is a plethora of guitars. I battle, it's time! You know what I'm saying, fellas? The heart's a clicking, a ticking. I got freaking 7 scoops of Mount Hagen in me at 8 p.m. We got the boys in the freaking, whatever we would call this, the freaking den of trees. We're gonna go part 2 here of the Mitchell Hooper, okay? Listen, guys, I understand. Absolute stud horsecock, world's strongest man. Stick de la frick is strong, all right? Going tit for tat, tick for tock, you bet your freaking buns. He will freaking rip a hole in Rick de la Stick. Okay? You understand what I'm saying, fellas? I get that. Major respect, okay? He seems like a freaking great guy. This is just an awesome video that we can talk about these things. Like the Jefferson split squat. This is a great way. If you're going to do split squats, guys, and you're afraid of getting hurt, okay? You throw that sucker between your legs, the Jefferson Bulgarian split squat. The reason I loved doing this back in the day was you can go freaking full ham bone, meat and potatoes, gusto up the wazoo, big voluptuous cojones, pushing your heart, your body, and your soul to the mats on this sucker. And worst case that, you know what I mean, you lose your balance, whatever it is, and like the bar on your back where you know, freaking eat shit, break your teeth, here you can just drop that sucker and you're freaking gravy, man. I think I got pretty much close to 500 on that, I believe. I don't know, though. That was a freaking, you know, a lifetime ago. Absolute lifetime ago. 2017, I believe this was. 7 years ago. A young Rick de la Stick, a.k.a. Dr. Density, also known as Mr. Spice.
Bent over rows or hip thrusts. We're going to put that in there at the category C with the Meadows row. Now I'm going to take a quick break.
Jeez,
I'm breaking down a lot of accessories right now.
What do we say about the split squat? All right, I think you said for the most part, it's going to strengthen the legs. You know, it'll boost your deadlift if you're a beginner. I mean, I think that it depends on how much you're horse cocking the weights, okay? If you're doing that freaking split squat, absolute balls to the wall, going big boy weights, you know, 400 plus, or, you know, even 315. 300, 400, or it doesn't even matter where, it's all relative in the first place. But you know what I'm saying? Anytime I ever see people doing Bulgarian split squats, they're freaking, it's child's play. You know, it's small dumbbells. It might maybe like a 10 on each side of the bar. I think if you go freaking full gusto on it, I gotta wonder here if Mitch has indeed actually gone full cojones on Bulgarian split squats. Because it'll get you a freaking just absolutely engorged backside for sure. Which, if we're going to give the hip thrust a freaking, I think it was a B rating or something like that, I think we got to at least get, I think those split squats are a bit, I mean, a C is a bit rather harsh, but I get where he's coming from. Because it's all about specificity at the end of the freaking day, boys. You know what I'm saying? Specificity's king. That's why I preached it over and over again in the freaking olden days. It's like, whatever you want to get good at, you just freaking do that. So you could squat every single day, and that's probably the best way, obviously, to get a bigger squat. You know what I mean? It's like, well, should I do leg curls, leg extensions, and leg press, and half squats, and lunges? It's like, what? Oh, it's just for a bigger squat? No, you should just squat. And just only do squat. You know, that's going to be the quickest way to get the biggest squat. Same goes for any other lift. But if we're talking about building a general strength base, then it's very dependent, though, on what your strengths and your weaknesses, of course. Anyways, who gives a rat's patootie?
If you want just clear cut.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about it all the time.
What are we doing
as
here?
something that is extremely useful.
Squatting,
Now,
I'm
the reason
guessing,
being
just a
is
squat.
because you're going to have a less weight.
But I will say that the
top
freaking
two.
Yeah, the squats, obviously, me and as well as many other people can attest that a bigger squat usually is going to be a bigger deadlift, and not vice versa. A bigger deadlift will not equal a bigger squat, but a bigger squat will equal a bigger deadlift. Usually always, right? Because in order to have a bigger squat, you got to be strong everywhere. The back, the front, you know, quads, glutes, hams, freaking core strength, right? Even upper back's got to be jacked and stacked, succulent and dense. Look at this freaking setup. Could this be any worse? Anyways, let's just get right to it. The squat's S tier.
Core exercise. Next up, we have dumbbell deadlifts.
I apologize. All right.
Superior
There it
column.
is.
If you want to
We
do
know.
deadlift,
There ain't
you
nothing to
have
talk
be
about.
squatting
There
on
ain't
a
nothing to
regular
talk
basis.
about. Yeah.
Next up, we have dumbbell deadlifts. I don't know how heavy the dumbbells go at the gym that you guys train at, but at my gym, they go up to about 200 pounds each.
Dumbbell deadlifts. That's an interesting one. Now, dumbbell deadlift, essentially, the only perk of the dumbbell deadlift is you can basically do it in a trap bar sense. So it can be like a deficit trap bar deadlift. But the deficit trap bar deadlift is freaking cash money. Okay, so that's good. But yeah, most gyms don't go up to 200s. And even if it does go up to 200, then it's still probably not going to get you a huge jacked and stacked deadlift. But I will say that sometimes I do like doing stiff-legged deadlifts with the dumbbells because you get a huge range of motion just to get everything clicking, ticking, warmed up. You know what I'm saying? Most gyms will go up to 125, I think, for the most part. Gyms are starting to get better and going up to 150. So, I mean, if you're doing a deep, stiff boys with the freaking 150s, the stiff-legged deads touching the ground, like, you're going to be freaking cooking, man. It ain't always about the top poundage on the bar, you know? It's something about having those two freaking unilateral components, right? And it just feels good that you're able to move them from the side of your body, in front of your body. You can go down. You can lock out with them being on the side. You know what I'm saying? There's just a lot of freedom with it. It just feels good. Now, with that to say, I mean, I don't think that it's something that's necessary by any means to incorporate. Nobody gives a rat's patootie. We want to hear what he has to say.
That you're working so hard with your shoulder girdles, you're stabilizing the weight. The drawback is you're not really strengthening.
That's cash money. Wow.
I don't
Not
fully
that
understand
Gingercules guy. He's a
and I
freaking
have to
jacked
own up to
freak
that.
beast.
I have had it explained to me before, and one of them, I believe, Romanian deadlift starts from the ground with high hips and stiff leg.
Wait a second. No, that's absolutely not true. Stiff-legged deadlifts start from the ground. Stiff-legged deadlifts are a deadlift off the floor. Romanian deadlifts never touch the ground.
Deadlift starts from your waist, but they're both a deadlift with stiffer legs than normal, so feels to be basically the same thing.
I don't think they're the same thing. I think that I like Romanian deadlifts more because I lack the mobility to do stiff-legged deadlifts comfortably with huge weights. I feel like I have a hard time touching, you know what I'm saying, keeping good posture, getting anything lower than my knees. Let's freaking back this up so you guys can see what I'm talking about. All right, so check this out here. Romanian deadlifts are comfortable for me. I like them because I have mobility. I have the mobility to get here, no problem. Anything past me is great for Romanian deadlift, okay? You know what I'm saying? Anything like this is great. And I don't mind doing a little bit of freaking knee bend anyways for the Romanian, right? I feel like it has great carryover. So anything like right here, cash money, just not touching the ground. The stiff-legged deadlift, you're touching the ground, and that's where I feel like either my hamstrings are going to tear or I end up getting a little bit of rounding on the bottom. And once I have that little bit of rounding, you know, there's more stress on the freaking erectors, not so much on the hammies. So personally, you know, a stiff boy like me, I like the Romanian deadlifts. And I feel like I've done both, and I've done deficit stiff-legged deadlifts before as well. They're freaking great. All these things are great. All these variations are great. But the Romanian deadlift, for the most part, is just absolute cash money for me. I love it so much. I literally just did it today on the live stream channel, Eric Bugenhagen Live. If you haven't checked it out, check that out.
Romanian deadlifts and stiff leg deadlifts are going to fall into the same category as barbell good mornings and trap bar deadlifts.
Oh, brother, come on. You got to make that freaking S tier, brother. If freaking Romanian deadlift, we're talking about key is specificity. I feel like this is, I mean, I would almost argue that I would say the Romanian deadlift is better. I mean, obviously, who am I? I'm Rick De La Stick. You know what I'm saying? This is freaking world's strongest man. So, you know, pick your freaking advice. It doesn't matter. But honestly, in my opinion, the Romanian deadlift will strengthen my deadlift more than the squat will. And that was with me agreeing that the squat is freaking S tier and will give you a big, voluptuous deadlift. I think the Romanian deadlift. Just any time I've done Romanian deadlifts and I really focus on putting more and more weight on the RDLs week after week, then I can go directly over to the conventional deadlift off the floor, and that equal strength that I've gained on the Romanian deadlift, I literally gain that equal strength on a conventional deadlift. Freaking apples to apples. Non-negotiable.
Next up is deficit deadlifts. This is a really common accessory to program for people who have difficulty getting the weight off the floor. It has its purpose, but the purpose is actually going to help you more at lockout than it is off the floor. Let me explain. When you have a deficit deadlift, you're going to drop down further and further, meaning the
Until I fuck this toe, will take some time to show you around. Possibly.
I think this is a great exercise to train your...
Anyways, carry on. This is not, obviously, this guy's freaking 1,000-pound deadlifter, right? Johnny Horsecock.
I'm going to put it in category A. I think it is a very good...
Wow, I can't wait to see his S's then. If all of these deficits are A, stiff-legged, Romanian are A, trap bars A, good morning is A. I need to see these S tier lists because I might be missing the freaking piece of the puzzle then, because I would say these were all S for the most part. Single leg deadlift, okay. I feel like this is, it's not going to have a huge amount of carryover to your deadlift, your max freak peak potential deadlift. But I do think this is very valuable for, athleticism. Being a freak horse specimen, absolutely. But for this strengthening your deadlift, like putting pounds on your deadlift, I don't see it having much at all benefit. So, I mean, I do think it's definitely not F. I think this is a C.
It is a phenomenal exercise in the off season, not when you're trying to go for a maximum weight. Reason being, it is so much This is not a good variation. We are much stronger eccentrically than we are concentrically.
Just doing the negative phase and then being done with the rep, I feel like it's not that beneficial.
Exactly what you're looking to do.
There's be way too much setting up. If you had some gym bros to train with and you freaking picked it up and you had 800 pounds and you tried your best to control it and you put it down and you and your bros picked it up and you did reps like that, I think that would be freaking awesome. Mainly to fire up the CNS, you know what I'm saying? To get the freaking CNS clicking and ticking and then take some weight off and then lift it from the ground. I think all those manipulation techniques are absolutely awesome, killer, and you can't put enough value on that.
Eccentric only deadlifts, they're getting a fail in my ranking, only because they say the elements that I'm just not comfortable with. Next up is our...
Bro, you can't put the freaking eccentric deadlift next to the TRX buzzsaw or whatever. Give me a break. Those aren't equals, brother,
Or a rack pull, any sort of partial dead.
Okay, this is where things get sticky and tricky now. Because rack pulls are freaking money, absolutely. But when you start getting above the knee and then this is going to have zero carryover to your deadlift. If he was to actually hinge, anywhere where you're actually hinging and getting it is money. As soon as you starting the lift like this, there's just no carryover really. So you can't just say a rack pull is a shit exercise, right? Because where are you starting the rack pull? That makes or breaks it. A rack pull below the knee, I think, is like one of the best things you can do to strengthen your deadlift. A rack pull above your knee, like at this height, is an absolute waste of time. And this is also just this is the dumbest thing ever, because why does this guy using so many bumper plates too? If he just got some like thin calibrated plates, it'd fit like a normal bar. But look at like how specialized this is totally just to break the internet with a viral clip, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, if I get a giant elephant bar and it's not even that many plates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's only 15. And some of them like look smaller than the others, so I can't even believe they're all probably 40. I mean, they might all be 45s, but honestly, like, it's not even, you can fit like 15 calibrated plates on a normal bar. Like, this is just, to use this as an example, come on, brother.
The likelihood of us caving over is much lower.
Dance
number one
for
accessory used to improve either under our feet or somehow securing that to the ground. And
I can't
every
focus!
time. It can work really, really well.
Oh, this is cash money, man. Neurological primer, he said? Absolutely. For this, beauty.
It's a slightly different foot position, a slightly different band position would change the effort of the lift substantially, and it's really hard to quantify how hard you're actually working. If I was just trying to peak for a max deadlift, this is not something that I would include, but if I was, say, 16 weeks out, it's something that
wouldn't include it to peak for a max deadlift. Guys, I hit a freaking max all-time PR max deadlift by priming up with the bands and then taking that band off, and it's so much easier because a band, you can't quantify how much you're lifting. You know what I'm saying? And in our brains, we're just looking at the plates. So we're like, holy buckets, I only have, 675 on. But you don't realize how much extra tension that band is adding. So then you take that band away, it's like, oh my God, that band must have been adding 100 pounds of tension. That's my experience with it. Absolutely peak for the dead. But again, it's just like, I will never win these arguments because this is a freaking world's strongest man. This is the strongest man in the world. So in his opinion, it is not beneficial. But just know that, the stick, man, do I think it's beneficial. Whew! Man, it's beneficial.
I would include in the first half of that program.
The Buffalo Dance.
Banded deadlifts and chain deadlifts are virtually the same thing. You're accomplishing the exact same thing.
It's a dance for me and you.
For me, this is better than something like our rack pulls because you will adopt the exact same position. Your deadlift
agreed, absolutely
agreed. On the floor, and you are increasing.
I would rather do a banded deadlift, or a chain, but I always prefer the bands over the freaking rack pull for sure.
But for me, banded deadlifts are going to fall down to a C.
Are you freaking nuts?
Deadlifts.
Are you freaking nuts?
Not a big fan. I think it's
are you freaking nuts?
I'm going to modify that slightly. Chain deadlifts are going to be at a B.
How is a chain deadlift better than a... Oh, this guy's... Mitchell, you just haven't done the banded deadlifts properly.
Next up, we have the Jefferson
Are you
deadlift,
nuts?
where you have deadlifts for me are going to end up in the F category.
F?
I'm just not sure that this should be a...
F? Brother, I'm not even a huge Jefferson deadlift advocate. I know it's funny that people probably think I am. I'm not telling anyone to do Jefferson deadlifts, but that is not a freaking F tier, depending on how you pull. I will say, guys, when I was doing Jefferson deadlifts every single day, I went and tried my semi-sumo frog stance, and the strength gains from the Jefferson that I made, the strength gains I made on the Jefferson were a freaking 1-to-1 carryover to the strength gains on the semi-sumo frog stance because the stance was virtually identical. And then my conventional, obviously I didn't get as much benefit with my conventional from the Jefferson deadlift, but regardless, I still felt like I was strong in my legs and my back and everything. Again, I would much rather banded deadlift, absolutely. If I was trying to strengthen my conventional deadlift, freaking camber bar, good mornings, low handle trap bar deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, from time to time put some, deficits in there, and a banded, I think that's all I would really need, in all honesty. Snatch grip deadlift. How is a snatch grip deadlift I was playing guitar, so I must have missed that part. How is a snatch grip deadlift S tier But then like a freaking, that's a deficit deadlift. Because you have to change up your mechanics totally. You're in a wide grip. You're in a totally different starting position. Whereas at a deficit, yeah, you're a bit lower, but you're still using the exact same grip width and everything as your conventional. It's just more specificity. I don't know, brother. Holy buckets, man. I don't know about this list. I thought we agreed on all the same things, but now I'm looking this over, and I can't say I agree on much. On the kettlebell swing, F. I mean, I'm not saying the Jefferson deadlift is like an S or an A by any means, but it's definitely a C. I would definitely say Jefferson deadlift is going to strengthen your deadlift more than a Meadows row. Are you freaking kidding me? Kidding me?
Staple in anyone's program if your intention is
Holy
to build your
buckets.
deadlift as strong as possible. We're not circumventing the basic rules of physiology, but a leg press is very, very useful.
Leg press S tier, brother. Leg press S tier.
In the same position that you're going to be using.
Oh my god, dude! Leg press. Okay.
It's gonna.
I like a leg press to strengthen the deadlift. I think it might help your leg drive a little bit, but I feel like most people aren't. I don't know, man. You need freaking the glutes and the hammies and the freaking erector strength and the upper back strength, and the leg press isn't really addressing any of that.
I should say, and our spinal erectors. We have two.
I do like it though, but
one is the
S tier for that? How is the leg press S tier where a deficit deadlift is freaking
only deadlift?
not?
It is more practical, and I can see more uses for it. Let's say you're a
What is
moderate.
this?
So I'm going to put this as a C. Far from a staple.
How is a
Good
slow
deadlift.
eccentric deadlift even
Definitely
considered a
something that's
freaking
not
accessory?
useful.
That's just a deadlift. I think a slow eccentric deadlift would be great. Yeah, I talked about this earlier, basically just doing like a Romanian deadlift, like just control. I don't know about slow though. I feel like we're entering Johnny Pencil neck status with a 5-second tempo. I think just rip it up and just 1 banana, 2 banana, good. Rip it up, 1 banana, 2 banana. Maybe give out 3 bananas. 5 bananas though, think about that. 1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4 banana, 5 banana. That's entering Johnny Pencil neck status, 100%. And where did he put those? Because if anything, that's essentially a dead. How is that a C tier? That's just a deadlift. What the frick, man? What the frick? That's just wild, though. How are these banded deadlifts, whether it's reverse banded or just conventionally banded, how is it C tier, brother? This is where we need to know a D tier, because you're going to tell me all these things are next to failing? A banded deadlift is damn near a fail? Just controlling the freaking deadlift on the way down is damn near a fail of a lift? You know what I mean? Like, hip thrust should go down there. Put the bands up, brother. Put the freaking rack pulls down there, then. Why is a chain deadlift higher than the bands? Like, I'll tell you right now, I'm doing freaking banded deadlifts, prepping my body up to max out, and these freaking things, brother, S plus tier, in my opinion. Versus I've done leg presses and started at like 10 plates per side and eventually got to 14 plates per side and saw no carryover in my deadlift. You know what I mean? Brother, I've focused on snatch grip deadlifting before, and it's just like, feels like shit. And again, the mechanics are totally different than a conventional deadlift, and your grip's wider, your stance is different because you're so low. I don't know. Again, not that I care. And this is world's strongest man. I'm not going to debate him. I'll take everything he's saying with more than a grain of salt. But regardless, I'm just a little bit bamboozled, baffled, and bewildered. You can't have this stuff next to TRX body saw, unilateral TRX roller. Come, brother, you're telling me all these banded deadlifts are in the same ballpark as the TRX exercises? We can just end the video in all honesty.